From the desert I come to thee, on a stallion shod with fire, and the winds are left behind in the speed of my desire. Bedouin Song, Bayard Taylor. This book was written on 4 continents and 1 island. Prologue, Cornwall, November 1887. The man stared into the crushing waves and wondered how long it would take to reach the jagged rocks below. He looked down past the length of black silk trousers, past the polished tips of boots poised at the edge of the limestone precipice. The drop would be hundreds of feet, and death would come as surely as the northern sun before him, a dying star slipping beneath the horizon of a desolate sea. How different this land was, how hostile and alien from his own beloved country of turquoise seas and balmy winds, as warm and intimate as a woman's breath. He braced himself against the icy wind that cut through the heavy cape which billowed around him like a dusky cloud. This was surely an omen. The depthless sky pressed with the crushing weight of a giant hand on the orange fireball, forcing its surrender to darkness as angry ribbons of purple and orange glittered like shards of glass on water as impenetrable and cold as slate. Red sparks shimmered across his eyes, but he felt no warmth. He would not allow it. He must at all costs be as cold and ruthless as the English cliffs on which he stood. He had waited a lifetime for this moment, and vowed to savour every second with the same ferocity as the frozen winds that lashed his face. A grim smile curled at his lips. How ironic that he should find himself here at last, drawn by this grim purpose. It shouldn't have been like this. Once he had dreamt of this land, had fantasized of his joyous arrival, but now his dream had vanished as easily as the last ray of light. All compassion, all hope had been destroyed long ago. Could he have ever been so young? "Sahib, are you ready?" A voice broke through the shroud of fog in the familiar tongue of the desert. "The horses, they grow restless." He wheeled about at the sudden intrusion as jagged boulders of limestone crumbled beneath his boots, plummeting into the rocks below. In the mist stood the carriage, black and imposing, the sinister reflection of the master it served. Briefly he allowed himself the luxury of its undeniable beauty. Even so, it only emphasized the striking ebony brace that stood restlessly at their master's bidding. Indeed, there was only one other breed of horse more powerful, swifter than the winds, more silent than the desert. He gently ran a black-gloved hand over the leather trappings, checking the horses himself, though he trusted his ancient driver implicitly. Force of habit, he mused, as he loosened the tension of the harness. "Master, it is time." He gazed into the darkening sunset that silhouetted his driver. Gloved fingers slid to his satin waistcoat and pulled out a pocket watch, tracing the engraving on the lid, then sightlessly crushed it in the palm of his hand. "Yes, my old friend, it is time." One stride catapulted him into the open cab, and he slammed the door behind him. With the crack of a whip, the carriage leapt forward, crushing granite and limestone beneath its wheels, away from the setting sun. Welcoming the darkness, he rested his head against the thick horsehair cushions. Velvet curtains shutting out the cold English fog, the cold English fog, the cold English fog, the cold English fog. but still he sensed it. He closed his eyes to blot out the foreign world around him. How he longed to be home, to be lost in the fragrant embrace of jasmine and clove, to hear the soft cries of jeweled night birds and fill his lungs with perfumed breezes. Not this stifling, frozen gloom of the Western man's civilization. With effort, he forced his eyes open. He swept back the curtain and stared into the inky sky of Cornwall. The fog wrapped itself around an unrepentant landscape, twisted yew and oak, a rugged beauty even he could not deny. Then, without warning, he glimpsed the distant silhouette. "Stop!" he shouted, his voice sharp in the cloying gloom. The coach ground to a halt under the old man's iron grip, the horse's laboured breath billowing in the night air. In the distance stood the mansion, aglow with the unnatural illumination that only a grand fate would demand. He smoothed the stiff, unaccustomed satin of his lapels, fighting the constriction of the high-winged collar, and forced a deep, icy breath into his lungs. His heart, his nerve, his very being must be as cold as the night air that clutched his chest. Nothing would stop the terrible machine of destiny now, and no one would be spared. He thumped his cane against the roof and the carriage hurtled towards the mansion and its fate. As he shut the window on his own dark world, the incessant pounding of hooves beat a tattoo on his brain. Revenge, revenge, revenge.